I do not claim to be any kind of geopolitical expert, and I know only superficial things about Germany and the latest German election, which was held yesterday. But I still found this map, this electoral map, worthy of commentary, because it is, to me, this is pretty striking. You know, you look at electoral maps of the United States when there's elections, we're used to talking about red states and blue states. This is color-coded in a different way. But what you have here is a clear difference between the East, the portion of Germany that belonged to the Soviet bloc up through 1989, 1990, or when the Berlin Wall came down. That this is the East. The rest of this is the West. Okay, and we have a clear political divide between East and West. Now, what happened in this latest German election, I do know enough to say, to give this thumbnail, is you had the center-left party, the Social Democrat Party, get voted out of power, and the Christian Democrat Party, they got voted into power. And if you see on the key here, the CDU, CSU is the Christian Democrat Union or Christian Democrat Party. The AFD, that's the so-called quote-unquote far-right party. That's the party that takes a strong, firm stand and says we need to stop illegal immigration and we need to start deporting illegal immigrants. We're done, with this this invasion that has caused so much strife and turmoil in our once homogeneous, culturally homogeneous country. So that's what's so fascinating here. So again, the blue, forget the Democrats being blue. Here the blue is the quote-unquote far-right AFD party, the party that the mainstream people call far-right and say that they're Nazis or neo-Nazis, even though their leader is a lesbian woman, not really what you would think of as the neo-Nazi, as a neo-Nazi leader. But there you go. Look at how they dominate the East. I mean, it's one thing I knew that they were getting a lot of support in the East. And that I heard that in this election they were going to get more votes than they'd ever gotten before. They were projected to gain, a large number of votes. They've more than doubled their total seats in the German Parliament, the Reichstag, since the last election. And that's impressive in and of itself. Of course, the party that's taking over the center right party, the CDU, Christian Democratic Party, they're not going to form any kind of alliance to the AFD. All the mainstream parties shun the AFD. Much like happens to other quote-unquote far-right parties in other European countries, like the National Front in France, or whatever they're called now. I think they're called by a different name, but Marine Le Pen's party in France, because the AFD party is just seen as beyond the pale. No, we will not we will not make alliances with them. And so the ruling party, the center-right party, is going to have the helm instead of the center-left party. But it's just sort of Tweedledee and Tweedledum, isn't it? The center-right party is a little bit more, a little bit more strict about immigration, but basically, basically meet the new boss, same as the old boss. They steal the rhetoric of the AFD and try to put it in a more quote unquote respectable package. So again, what you see in the West is mostly black districts, or I don't know what they call them over there. What we'd say call counties here, provinces. I don't know. So the ones that are dark black, those are the ones that have the most votes for the center right party. You see a couple of patches of green for the Green Party, and mostly around the urban areas, like Dusseldorf, and in the east, only around Berlin do you find people voting for the center left party, the Social Democrat Party. So Berlin is like a blue city in the midst of a red state. This huge patch of AFD. Okay, they dominate East Germany. And again, I was not aware that this was the case, but it's pretty interesting. And now there's one little patch down here that got majority AFD. I'm not sure what. Maybe somebody can hop on and tell me what the significance of that little patch. And then there's a much smaller patch of blue there, and a few patches of red, mostly black, mostly various shades of black. The victorious center-right party. But the center-right party, if you look at their results, they didn't do that much better than the AFD, the so-called far-right party. It's pretty close. So, this seems like an interesting situation. And again, I'm speaking as someone who is, mostly ignorant about. I'm certainly no expert. I have nothing other than a superficial reading and a superficial understanding of what went down and what was at stake in this election. But what is it about the East? What is it about this group of people who lived, or the district that lived under communism, that lived under the Soviet bloc, where they've managed to preserve this desire to be a sovereign nation, and this desire to have to retain their historical genetic roots. Why are they so much more based in the East? Whereas in the West, it's sort of, it's the typical West European kind of globalist, neoliberal kind of melange that we see across much of Western Europe. And is there hope for the East, since they're represented in the Reichstag now? They still call it the Reichstag, I think. Since they're represented, since they have a large number of seats, but they're effectively blocked from making any decisions because the center right and the center left are just going to hook up with each other and form an alliance in that way, and exclude the ADF. But this is a pretty combustible situation, I would say. Worth keeping an eye on, and is another secession. We had Germany split in two after the end of World War II. Then they reunified at the end of the Cold War. Is there a chance of another split sometime? Might we see the East, these eastern districts, secede? Just, I think, something interesting to keep an eye on.